Welcome to QXA, the podcast where we answer your biggest questions about trucks, SUVs, off-roading, custom builds, and everything in between. This show is proudly sponsored by Off-RoadX, the ultimate brand for off-road enthusiasts that live and breathe adventure.
That was perfect.
Yeah, and this is Peter Lindsay, the owner of Off-RoadX.
Yep. And that is Spencer Goolsby. Oh. He's the main character in his own story. And that's a good story.
It's a wild ride, I can tell you.
What are we talking about today? I have no idea. None, zero.
I mean, it'd be nice if I knew too. We sometimes wing this, but today we're going to be talking about epic off-road trips.
Okay.
And how to plan the perfect adventure.
Awesome.
Right? So buckle up. Let's get into it. First topic we're going to go over is best off-road destinations in the U.S. and beyond. We'll answer some questions about that, kind of dive into our rapid fire at the end. So let's get into it. Pete, what are your top 3 favorite off-road destinations?
Yeah, I think that's pretty simple for me. Number 1 is Moab, Utah.
Yeah.
It's my happy place. Yeah.
Golden Star.
I think there's some people out there that say when you die, whatever you dream of heaven to be, that's what it'll be.
Moab?
It's gonna be Moab, man.
Never been to Moab. I've seen pictures, but now I'm
we're gonna take a little caveat here, a little U-turn. We'll keep it in the car community here, just a little second. Spencer Goolsby has not been on an off-road trip with Off-RoadX yet, so I cannot wait for him to be. And we're gonna do a whole episode on the fun that he has as well as just the experience. The problem is he's a busy man, so getting him to be able to go is gonna be tough, but I think about this, we're not getting a lot of comments yet and stuff like that. We're just starting out. Yeah. I think the viewers should decide what trails I should take you on the first time. So let's stick it close to Denver, Colorado Springs, Boulder. Let's make it nearby. And if you've got a trail that you think I should take him on, let's keep it intermediate to experience, not too crazy. And whatever you guys vote on,
something really low to the earth, though. I'm scared of heights, and I don't want to get my truck dirty. So,
yeah. Well, you don't have to bring your truck. You could just come with us. Well, I'll be nice.
I can close my eyes and ride in the passenger seat.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so we'll get back to the question. Moab, Utah, without a doubt, it's a happy place. Like I said, I think some people say that heaven is what you dream. Yeah. And if I'm going to heaven, I want it to be like Moab. I just love that place. I think it's so fantastic. There's something for everybody. And it's just unbelievably beautiful. Yeah. Get away from people, or you can be next to people. The campsites are amazing if you know how to find them. Just everything is so good. It's just so good. It's just perfect. Yeah. And then I would say my second favorite all time is got to be here in Colorado. Like just the variety of off-roading here, the openness, the fact that, again, you can really get away or you can be near people. And there's so much variety and experience levels that it's just great. It is for people that really off-road. If you haven't off-roaded Colorado yet, got to do it. It's phenomenal.
There's every terrain you can possibly think of out here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Depending on what part of the state you're in.
Absolutely, yes. Not only that, but like the way that you get all these neat little like historical sites and things like that. You go to certain other states, like Utah is a prime example. Like Moab is wonderful and everything like that, but you're not going to roll up on an abandoned mine or an abandoned city or an abandoned town at 13,000 feet of elevation.
This is another plug for Moab.
No, this is Colorado. This is Colorado. You really get that experience here, which is really nice. So it's a variety of experiences here, and just it's wonderful to off-road. And then I'm going to take it back to the Lindsay farm that I grew up on. That's my third favorite, just because it's nostalgic. And there isn't a lot of off-roading there. It's pretty limited. It's pretty short, but I did enjoy, growing up and getting the trucks a little muddy. And I got a great story about my dad almost burying our F-350 one time in a mud hole. And it was just a overall experience.
For the fans, this was Steelers country, right?
Yes.
What part?
Yeah, just northeast of Pittsburgh. So we're about 35 miles northeast of Pittsburgh. Soil's a little clay-like there. It's more muddy. The boulders and the rocks are all super slick, and it's, you're not going to be able to take your truck off-roading without coming back and having get caked up with mud.
So would that be kind of like redneck country?
Absolutely.
No offense, I grew up in the sticks of Texas. Nothing against it. That's what we did for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, go get your truck dirty.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We had a pond on the property. We used to drive my truck. Like every day I'd come home and at least drive from the house down to the pond and back, which is like maybe a quarter mile round trip. But it was, you know,
your parents didn't get mad at you for messing up the yard or what?
As long as I stayed on like the trails that were already designated for it. No, they didn't get that mad. And keep in mind, like too, when I was able to drive, I was also able to fix whatever I damaged. So, you know, I messed something up. My dad expected me. You gotta get it fixed. So, what about you? I mean, I know you haven't off-roaded or anything like that, but like, what areas would you like to go to if you were gonna off-road?
I mean, the experience I've had here, I-25 is, I mean, it's got some. It will throw you around, dude. But out here, Rampart Range, you know, I've kind of just stayed on the main road, but went through there. But back in Texas, we took some backcountry trails and stuff like that we would try to get our truck stuck in. They probably weren't nothing extreme like what you guys do. Get the tires muddy, you know what I mean?
That's part of the fun, though. Yeah. I don't know what it is about a little bit of dirt getting on your truck. Yeah. It just, there's something about it. I don't know if it's the hormones kick in or something like that. It just, you know, men and women alike. I don't want to just like say like, oh, it's a man thing. I think there's something organic about, you know, controlling a vehicle and then putting it over earth. Yeah. And it not being paved, you know, not being, you know, the man didn't make it easier for us. You know, we're taking that through the world.
We're taking roads less traveled and paving our own paths, right? Being curious about the world. And it's a great thing. I do remember I had a Saturn as my first car. Me and my wife, now wife, went on a dirt road and it was muddy. Didn't know it. But mud got caked up in the wheels. I had to get towed out later. But like, I remember it throwing the car off balance. You know, I was like, I'm never doing that again. So that's all the stories I got.
Well, things have definitely changed for the off-roading community, and you're driving a Raptor now, so you have one of the most capable vehicles in the whole world to go out there and do it. I know you're not going to. I'm not going to pressure you to until you're ready.
It takes me to my office. It does well. But so great. So we got your top three: Moab, Colorado, and unfortunately, Steeler country. I'm a Cowboys fan. All right. So the next question is going to be kind of a topic around how to plan your first overlanding or weekend trail trip. Okay.
All right.
So this question is going to be, how do you plan a trip to avoid getting stranded or lost?
Okay. I think the first step of planning a trip is doing your work ahead of time. So don't go wing it, is what I'm saying. Don't just go out there and go, oh, look at that trail. That looks fun. Turn right. You know, don't do I'll turn right here, left here. I'll remember this. No, that doesn't work that way.
You got to throw Cheez-Its out the window if you do that.
Exactly. You got to get those breadcrumbs going. Yeah. But I think it's to plan ahead of time. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that to plan ahead of time. There's a lot of resources out there right now that make it super easy. I mean, everybody holds in their palm of their hand like a supercomputer these days.
Oh, so your phone tracking it? Like notes and apps and
absolutely.
Is there apps for this?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's so many different ways that we can do it. And I don't know if we're going to get into this in the future, so I'll just jump right into it. But like, there are, I'd say, a half a dozen software apps that you can get for your phone, your iPad, anything like that, that'll help you plan trips. Some of them will have trails already designated on the app, so you can just go, oh, I want to try that trail, and tap on the app, and you get directions to where you want to go, and then you go on the trail. These apps will even have, like, ratings for those trails, so you can get an understanding of, oh, that's a 2-level trail versus a 9.
Difficulty level.
Correct, yes. Gotcha. And some of them will have pictures that other people have posted on there. Some will have like terrain, like this is what you're going to experience, a little write-up about it. So you get all of that into these apps. So I would start off with like the free version of, let's just say, OnX Off-Road. That's a brand.
OnX Off-Road.
Yep, OnX Off-Road. Get that free download. Use that first. That'll get you to the most of the trails that you want to get to anyway. It's a pretty easy app to use, and you can get really involved with it. You can get really in depth with it, and it becomes a little more challenging and a little cumbersome, but overall, it's really user-friendly and really easy. There's a bunch of other ones out there. And then on top of that, let's say you don't have a computer in your pocket. Okay. Let's say you're one of those people that you can afford the map, right?
Yeah.
One of the great things out there is the U.S. Forest Service releases these things called MVUM maps, motor vehicle use maps. Okay. They're free. So get access to the MVUM map for the areas that you're going to, and at least you'll have a trail map for the location that you're going to. And that's for U.S. Forest Service areas. Okay. If you're going to National Park Service, all the National Park Service have a map for them that are usually free. So U.S. Forest Service, National Park Service, you could almost get anywhere you want by just getting a free map directly from them. There's also digital versions of those maps that you can apply GPS to, so you know exactly where you are on the map.
That would be ideal in today's age, right?
Yes. Yeah. So if we get more into the technology a little bit later, if not, remember to ask me like how I would plan a trip and what software I would use.
Yeah. So to avoid getting lost or stranded, that's it, right?
Yes.
And if you get stranded, hopefully your device has service.
Yes.
Make a call, get out, call Off-RoadX. If they're within 100 miles, you go get them?
If they're in Colorado, we will go get them.
That's a bold statement. If you're down south in like Cortez, you'll be there in like 8 hours.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be a long way.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, though. No, we'll absolutely help. And we talked about this in an earlier episode as well, about having the right things with you in that case. So number one is taking care of yourself. So that's extra water and snacks and food. The second one is communication. So that's a GMRS radio. That's a VHF radio. That's having satellite connection. There's a bunch of different things out there that you can use to help amplify your cell phone service or Starlink. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can make sure you have communication back to civilization nowadays that we didn't even have a year ago, to believe it or not. Like some of this stuff is so cutting edge and it's changing every week. I mean, just during the Super Bowl, T-Mobile announced something that I don't even want to say on this podcast because I want to disconnect, and T-Mobile's basically made it so that you have connection everywhere, which is pretty crazy.
Is that the Starlink thing with Verizon?
No, it's with T-Mobile.
It's T-Mobile?
Yeah. Okay. So T-Mobile has a contract with Starlink, and you can use their phone in areas where you don't have cell service because you're connecting to Starlink through your phone.
Got you.
If you have a compatible phone. Keep that in mind, too.
Yeah. Not some busted up Metro. No. Metro's actually legit, and Ryan Reynolds supports it, and I like Ryan Reynolds.
I think that's some other brands. Lime or Mint. He's Mint.
I thought Mint was dentistry.
No, Mint is Ryan Reynolds. And what was the other one? Boost Mobile?
Boost Mobile?
We're all over the map now. What did you say?
Whatever you got, it worked.
Yeah.
Don't judge me on cell service. All right. So what essential gear do you always pack for multi-day trips?
Water, food, communication. Those are easy. We go back to tires, tire patch kit, air compressor for sure. Clothes. Make sure you got dry clothes, enough clothes. So I think that's it. Water, like the necessities are water, food, communication, extra clothes, tire patch kit, air compressor.
Yeah.
And enough tools to just basically get by.
Yeah.
I think that's
food, water, warmth, any fire starter stuff. Like, have you ever used the little Flint starters? Is that important or not?
I mean, if you want to be a caveman, you go ahead and get that stuff. That was mean. But, like, in all honesty, these days, a lighter. Like, a little Bic lighter. I got like a 10-pack of them 10 years ago for $1.
Yeah.
And I test them right before we go out on every trip. I just flick it once or twice. I have 2 of them. Always have a backup. And so, yeah, I've got a fire starter at all times. Like, just, it's so simple.
I literally have a Flint starter in my truck. I probably never use, but I feel like, just in case.
Yeah.
I probably don't know how to do it, but.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of cool ways to start a fire if you've got a vehicle. You can do, like, cross the battery terminals to create a spark. If you've got steel wool, you can do that. If you've got cotton, you can do that.
That's something we're going to do on this table with a battery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do that.
Dude, a little survival technique.
Yep, that could start a fire right here.
Already placed down. That. It's cold sometimes. A lot of people would do that, actually.
Yeah.
It'd be great. All right. Well, how do you keep things comfortable without overpacking?
That can be challenging sometimes. Again,
totes and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Okay, we can go that direction. That's a good way to answer this because I was kind of figuring out, like, what do I say here? The big thing is, like, Off-RoadX, we carry everything. So our rigs are just designed. We've got bins upon packs upon bins. So like the Raptor has a custom bin that's in the back that holds all of the stuff. Plus we've got totes and refrigerators and coolers, and we planned out like exactly how it all fits in the truck. We have a grill that we bring. You know, it's kind of crazy. A full-size propane tank we bring. It's a little over the top.
Yeah.
Same with the Bronco. When we go, we're bringing basically everything with us. So with us, we overpack. But we're going with other people. We want them to have a good time without having to worry about buying a crap load of stuff when they don't really need it on a day-to-day basis. Now, if you're not us and you're going, I think that's the absolute truth. Get some bins. Get some pack-out bins. You know, the bin market has gone crazy in the last few years, and it's super cheap too. Yeah. So you can go to Walmart and get the Rubbermaid bins, and those will do just fine. And just use a ratchet strap to hold them down, or get a cheap net to hold them down, or just let them run free, and they can bounce around. Idea. Then the step up from that is all these tool brands. You name the tool brand, they've now got a pack out system. They've got, you know, you got Milwaukee, DeWalt, Craftsman, Rigid, you name the brand. They've got these pack out systems that are bins that latch to each other and hold on to each other and or different sizes, different features, all this kind of stuff. So you can pack your tools and other gear inside those types of bins. And that's actually what we do in our Bronco. We went the cheaper route in the Bronco, and we went out and got bins that are pack-out bins that latch all to each other. And then all we do is we latch one down, and then the rest all like bolt to the one that we latch down. Oh, nice. So it's really simple.
They don't pop off?
No, never.
Really?
It's pretty wild. Yeah, so it's pretty good. And I think our whole bin setup for the Bronco, which is 6 bins, holds everything we want, keeps them all in those cases, and I think it was like $130 on sale when we bought them. And they're just awesome. So you can get really inexpensive ways to pack and keep things organized and keep things in control so that you don't feel like you're going to be over-consumed by this giant mess.
Do you label your bins?
I don't. I just know where everything is. The big thing about the bins, like in the Raptor, the big bin, we've got one big bin in there, and we pack it full so nothing really slides around in there. And that's all the stuff that if we need it, we go in and get it. So we're not opening that.
Like emergency situations.
Yeah, it's the tools, it's the tow ropes, it's the extension cords, it's a chainsaw. If we're going here in Colorado, we always want to bring a chainsaw, especially early in the season, because there's always trees down from the winter. Yeah. So we pack everything in there, and that's if we need it. And then everything else is kind of more just strapped down by its own. And because we can fit everything in that one bin. So everything else is just packed down on its own, and we use that stuff every day. So our tents even our tents go, I think, in the bin. So we're only opening that bin like once a day. So yeah, that's really nice. And then in the Bronco, it's a little different. Each one of those bins that we purchase, those 6 bins, there's specific items in them. And so we kind of stack them and build them in a way that like the top bin, it's the dry
priority to like not going to use kind of thing.
Yeah. Most likely not to use is in the bottom bin, and then, up to the top.
I got you. Right.
One thing I will say.
What's that?
This is I would say, I think an experienced person's tip, because I made this mistake like a dozen times easily, maybe even more.
What?
Have a hard bin for your bread and chips. You don't know how many times I've gotten to camp, my bread's like this tall, it's all smashed up and everything.
It's a way to cut calories, though. You smash it, it doesn't...
It's not less calories.
Of course, volume. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, so get a hard bin for your dry goods. That's what I always recommend to people.
That's the best tip.
That's the best tip.
Snacks, the valuable one. All right. Do you have any uncomfortable, or unforgettable trip stories, whether they were good or bad? Unforgettable, uncomfortable, whatever you got.
Yeah, I think we talked about a couple in a prior episode, but I had a recent one where I got in a minor altercation with a guy on a trail. And there's some off-road etiquette, and I think we've already started to write scripts for future episodes. So there's a future episode that I think is about off-road etiquette, the whole episode. And I think that one might be the most important episode we may ever do, in my opinion.
But for beginners, because I'm going to go out there and people are going to honk at me. Either I'm going the wrong way, or it's like skiing downhill has priority. I don't know.
Correct. Yeah. So we were going up a hill.
Yeah.
In pretty rough terrain, and it was pretty steep. and we had like 5 vehicles with us, if I remember correctly. And we had just made it through a pretty technical section with one of the rigs that really wasn't capable of doing it, or obviously was capable of doing it. We got it through it, but it was a big challenge for that vehicle. Yeah. And so we'd just gotten through that. It's super skinny. We're talking like trees just on the edges of the mirrors on either side. Yeah. And a group of vehicles, 5 vehicles, are just coming down the hill. Now, off-road etiquette is that uphill has the right of way. Now, that is absolutely true, and we follow that as much as we can possibly follow that, and there's a reason for that. But there are times where you should have the conversation with the people that you're coming up against, because it may be easier for you to back down and park and then let them pass. Yeah. But in most cases, uphill should have the right of way and should continue. Okay. So if you're coming downhill, you should back up and go. Gotcha. And I had a little conversation with the guy. I said, hey, can you pull over? I also knew that where he just was a big open field. Yeah. Like not that far back. Yeah. Whereas for us, it was a pretty far way back. And when I'm talking about this, maybe it was 50 yards back for him, and it was like 300 yards back for us.
And you're going downhill.
We're going downhill backwards, yes, and through some tough stuff that we just got through. And so I just kind of said, if you guys can pull over, or if you can back up to that spot. And he kind of gave me lip about it. And I very politely just, countered his aggressiveness with politeness and honesty. Like, hey, we've got 5 rigs. We're really not going to back up here.
There's a train we have right here.
Yeah. And, he kind of there was just a little bit of tension there. And I was actually super disappointed with the whole situation. Yeah. And I don't want to like harm anybody's feelings or badmouth anybody, but kind of know what you're getting into and be honest. And there's other things I could say that I'll keep to myself about the situation, but it was pretty disappointing and probably one of the most tense situations I've had with an off-roader in that environment where we're pretty far out there. It wasn't like a trail locally. Yeah. It wasn't like a, 15-minute drive to get there. You had to know what you're doing to get there. Yeah. And so I think that was like a recent
big sour moment for you, I guess. Yeah.
I was a little disappointed with that. And then I've got tons of memorable ones. We talked about a few. I'll talk about another one recently. I was wheeling, this was last summer, and we were wheeling on a pretty easy trail. Yeah. And I was coming down this trail, and this trail had like big rock walls on either side of the trail. So you kind of like you're driving on it was basically a dirt road, by the way. This is not challenging. You're driving on this dirt road, and then like you'd come around a corner and there'd just be these rock walls, and it'd be like single lane. No way for people to pass in these areas. And they weren't very long, maybe 50 yards or 100 yards long at most. So you would see the other end, and you could, wait for the person to come through, or the person could wait for you to come through, it'd be perfectly fine. And I came around this corner, and I go into this ravine, and there's a guy in there, and he is all shooken up. His Jeep is on the side, and I'm like, whoa, dude, like, what happened? And he said, like, a motorcycle was coming the opposite direction, and so he's in the ravine already. He's, like, in between these rocks, and his Jeep's, like, a foot either side, and it's a straight-up wall. And he said the motorcycle, like, didn't slow down. So he just was like, well, I'm not going to hit the guy.
So he hit up the wall?
He went up the wall and flipped over.
Oh, wow.
And I felt terrible for the guy. Fortunately, he kept his arms and limbs inside the vehicle. So he didn't
That's a big safety thing for people out there. Pay attention.
Yeah, if you're about to roll over, first of all, never have your arms and limbs outside the vehicle. We always say, like, keep your arms and limbs inside the vehicle as best you can. There are times where you're going to put your arm out the window. I get that.
In an open field.
Yeah, but when you're wheeling, have the arm inside. And if you ever feel like your vehicle is tipping over, there's kind of 2 approaches. One is like steer out of it and throttle out of it, but have your hands on the wheel to do that. Yeah. The other one is like if you're past that, if you're like, this is going over, I always tell people,
grab your chest.
Grab your chest. Yeah. Just bring your arms in and grab your chest. Yeah. And get in the habit of practicing that, just like, oh, stuff's happening. You go like that. Because all it takes is your hand to be outside the window once and you're losing a couple fingers, or worse, your arm, So that's another kind of tough experience. And I don't want to leave it on that. So let's go with a great experience. Yeah, we had 2 rough ones there.
I'm going to be scared after to go off.
I'll tell you what, there's a few trails in Moab which are absolutely epic and amazing and everything like that. But one of the trails that like is pretty moderate overall is Dome Plateau Trail. And the first time I did it, I mapped it out and everything like that. And I was like, oh, this looks like a cool scenic view. Yeah. Man, it takes you straight to a cliff that's over 1,000 feet straight down. And you have this unbelievable view in front of you. It is remarkable. It's just one of the amazing views that you're going to have, like heavenly views. Yeah. Another one's the White Rim Trail. Go to the White Crack, walk right out on one of the spires there and overlook that. It's just incredible.
What's a spire?
A spire is this thing in Moab where the dirt, the ground, the rock has been windswept over the years. So like this is normal dirt, right? You're this little dot up here walking across this little dirt. And over time, the wind has kind of blown the bottom open, but the tops are still touching.
And you're on the top?
So you can walk across the top, but there's a big gap underneath.
So it's like a sand bridge?
No, it's rock.
Okay.
But yeah, you have these spires that go up, and some are disconnected. You can't get from one to the other, but some are close enough that you can walk out on them and get to the very end and just take in nature's beauty. Okay. So there you go. There's ending on a couple good ones.
That sounds terrifying. All right. That kind of wraps up our main questions for the day. So went over a little bit of the best roads or best destinations to go to, safety, preparation, how to organize your rig, and some crazy, uncomfortable stories that are kind of out in the field, living it live. So next topic, next thing we're going to go to is rapid fire. So let's kick it off with mountain trails or desert dunes.
Mountain trails.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah. I mean, dunes are fine. I think we said this earlier too.
Yeah, I think there was
the thing about dunes are fun. There's no doubt about it. And you can have a lot of fun in the dunes. But every dunes that I've been to have been about the same. You know, the views are about the same. The looks are about the same. The sand's about the same. I mean, there is some difference. And
I know we've talked about it, mountain versus dunes, but is there a higher risk for destroying your engine or your vehicle because you're in the sand? Because it could like suck in your intake or get in your exhaust or like cake up in your brake pads. I don't know. It's inside my truck. I didn't open a door. So like, how is this possible?
Yeah. I don't think there's any additional risk one way or the other. The driver determines the risk for most part.
Okay.
There are times where the other driver determines the risk.
Oh, if they're throwing it up on you?
Or no, if you're coming up the top of a dune and someone else is coming up the other side. Maybe you're coming up nice and easy, trying to take it slow so you can see over the top of the dune, so you make sure somebody isn't coming up, but they're coming up too fast, and boom, they hit you.
So in dunes, people are going much faster than you will on mountain trails, though, right?
Sometimes.
They're like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. You know, usually you can see better in the dunes. Okay. When you're cresting a dune, obviously not, but when you're like in a bowl or you're in a flat area, absolutely.
You just gunning it the whole time?
Yeah, you can go crazy. Yeah, you can have fun. And you can in sometimes in the mountains as well. There's some mountain trails where they're wide open and pretty long, and you can have a little fun and really enjoy it. But going back to the original, rapid fire part, which why mountains for me, the views are just so variable. So you're going to change from one day to the next, from one trail to the next, from 1 mile to the next. Also, the terrain changes dramatically very quickly. So you get more variability in the terrain as well, which challenges you more. Yeah. I think it makes it more exciting. Yeah. Yes, you're not going to have that consistent high-speed, adrenaline rush that you can get in the dunes a lot easier, but I think that there's other things that just make it a better experience. Also, for us here in Colorado, much easier to get to the mountain trails than it is to get to the dunes.
Yeah. Got it. All right, next one. Solo trip or group convoy? I think I know your answer, but
it's a great question. And I love getting away from people. I do not, in general, I love humans. I love every human, and I will tell people I just met I love you and walk away. Yeah. And I think you've experienced that.
Yeah, I think that's how we met. Yeah, first day.
Yeah. So I really do love everyone until you do something wrong, and then I'm like, see ya, you're out of here. But I do like getting away from people, and so I do enjoy being in nature away. That all being said, it's a group convoy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I set you up for that one. Having more people is almost always more betters.
That's some Texas words right there.
Yeah. And the reason for that is just enjoy these experiences together. Now, the thing about off-roading is you're going out and doing something challenging sometimes, and there's different levels of capability, different levels of being scared, you know? You might be with somebody that looks at an obstacle, even though the rig might be fully capable of doing it, they look at that and go, oh boy, oh, that's not for me, right? Yeah. And we experience that all the time. And that's why we take so many people out, is we want to challenge people and get people to a place of a little bit uncomfortableness so that they expand their comfort zones, right? They get...
That's growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And we take a lot of people we don't know. So our rally club, for example, we just give coordinates and a day and a time. We have no idea who's going to show up. Oftentimes it's people that are from way different backgrounds than what we are. And yet we still have a blast going out with them. Now, there are certain people that can't handle, different personalities and things like that, and that's going to happen, and that's understandable. Now, the most fun for me is taking the people that I've grown to really love with me. Like, those trips are really, they get taken to another level because I already know what their weaknesses and challenges are. I already know what they're really, really good at. And then on top of that, I really like these people. These people, win, you just have a great time with. So I really do like going out there. And the last thing I will say is I got a family, I got kids, and going out by yourself can be dangerous. Yeah. And I want to be there next week, next year, keep going. So the more people you have, yes, there's chances for bad things to happen when other people are out there, but at least maybe there's another rig that can get you off the mountain quickly if you were in an accident or something like that. If you get in an accident by yourself, your rig can't move, and no one's coming. Yeah,
and you got to saw off your arm or your leg.
That's real. It happens. In fact, that guy, we go right past where he did that when we go to Moab. We've the last few years we've gone like within a few miles of where he did that. So like that's how far out we've been. We've actually been further than that out and alone. Now, obviously hiking in a ravine like that, he's way more hidden than we are in a truck, but we've been to places where like it's going to be days before somebody comes by again.
That's uncomfortable for me. All right, next one. Camp under the stars or a rooftop tent.
All right. I don't have a rooftop tent.
Okay.
I'm mentally challenged with figuring out why I'm not interested in one or why I haven't got one yet. I have friends in the industry that sell these.
Yeah.
And I've talked with them about it from time to time, and I think there's some part of me that's like, well, it would be nice to set up super quickly and things like that. But then I've got this massive tent on my truck all the time. Yeah. And my trucks are both built for the weight that I've already got on them. So now I got to modify my trucks again to handle the new weight that I'm going to put on. I don't know. I'm not a rooftop tent guy yet. Maybe my opinion will change in the future. So I'm under the stars, man. And there are a lot of times, we tent camp when we go out and go in the ground tents, and we put the rain fly on more than I'd like to, but we do that because there's a chance it might rain in the middle of the night, and I don't want to get wet. But any chance that I get to not have the rain fly on, you better believe I'm doing that. So
sit around a campfire.
Oh man, I mean, you've seen some of the pictures we take.
Yeah. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're in a galaxy or something. You know what I mean?
It's wild. And so, we'll sit there with a beer and great group of people in the middle of Utah, nowhere. The stars just pierce through the sky like you can't even imagine.
And there was like purple haze and pink haze that I seen kind of out there. It was just like...
That was wild. We didn't know that the northern lights were coming down that far during our trip. So we went on this trip and we're in the middle of Utah. In fact, we looked out after the trip. There's a website where you can go where it shows you like the least amount of light pollution in the United States from cities. We happened to be camping.
Right there?
Right there. We didn't, like, I knew that we were going to be in that area. Like, it was going to be dark, right? We're way out in the middle of nowhere. I did not know the northern lights were coming down that far. Yeah. And we're sitting there at camp, and we're like looking up. We're like, "Why is that purple? Why is that pink?"
That ain't right.
And then on the left, we were like in a little bit of a canyon, but it was open to the west.
Yeah.
And to the left, the moon was rising over this canyon, so it was just bright white. You could see these stars down the middle. And then to the right, there's these pinks and purples coming up over the mountain. It was
incredible. Yeah.
It was wild, and we got home and then found out that, oh yeah, the northern lights were coming down that far, and we just happened to be there. Oh, when we were pulling into camp, there was like all these campsites, and these are first come, first serve in the middle of nowhere. And there's like 20 of them just kind of lined up in the Bureau of Land Management, I think. And I was like, okay, we'll pick this one, or we'll pick this one, or, you know, whatever, we'll feel it out. But there won't be anybody there.
Yeah.
Almost every single spot was taken. And there's like dudes with easels, like painting. There was dudes with massive cameras. And I'm like, this is odd. As I'm driving, like, what are these people doing? And we got literally the last campsite. The very last campsite was available on this trail. Yeah. And I mean, we could have gone further and found another one. But like, of the marked campsites that were already there, this was the last one. Every other one was taken. I was like, this is weird. Like, and then
you realize, like, oh, today was like the stars aligning, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So we got lucky
to be out there, and yeah, it was amazing. So underneath the stars, without a doubt, is the way to camp.
There you go. I would agree with you, because I would get uncomfortable, like I'm gonna fall off this truck, or even though you're kind of zipped up, it seems like a hassle.
So I think it's easy.
You have to go to the bathroom. Like, you have to climb down the side of a truck.
That's right. No, I think overall it's easier just in the sense of like setting up and tearing down, because it just kind of like folds up, and they've got that technology down now, and it's so good. Yeah. I just I don't know. I just think there's a lot of there's some cons to it as well.
It's like technology. Like, some things are really good, but then some things are like, come on, man, just keep it the way it was. There was nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
Tent camping around a fire with some s'mores, hot dogs.
Yes.
That's life right there.
Absolutely.
You know? All right, next one, map, compass, or GPS?
All three.
All three.
All three. So okay. I know this is a quick, we're supposed to be quick here, but yeah. I'm going to go into it right now. All so
right. I'm listening.
Map, absolutely. Compass, absolutely. GPS, absolutely. We do all three. So when we go to plan a trip, we start with maps. So we have a plethora of maps. We use Google Maps, Apple Maps, and then we use OnX off-road maps. We use MVUM maps. We use Butler maps, and we use Funtrex maps. Okay. That is a lot, right?
That's way too much.
It is way too much for most people. Yeah. But again, we're leading. So we got to know what we're doing. We got to know where we're going. And I want to find the coolest, funnest, most awesome route to get there and to get back too. So not just the trail. The trails are all marked off, but how do I get to that trail? Yeah. I don't want to just take I-25 to I-24 and then pull onto the trail. No, I want to take like 105 to maybe Rampart Range, and then over to 64.
And back country roads to get to the trail.
Yeah, because why start your vacation there? Start your vacation here. As soon as you can get to the fun, let's get there. Yeah. So I use all those maps. And for instance, like Butler Maps is a great example. Okay. That's a motorcycle map.
Really?
People would I don't think people would ever think to cross over to look at a Butler map to plan their off-roading trip. Yeah. But they give you some great information about like how twisty the roads are, how the views will be, all that kind of stuff. So why not use that to your advantage? Like, yes, we're not in a sports car. We're not going to be taking these turns at crazy speeds. We're not on a motorcycle, right? Yeah. But if that road is super scenic and windy, we'll take our time in our rigs, just kind of take it easy and just take in the views and just really enjoy it. Yeah. So there's the maps, right? Got it. And then we always bring Funtrex maps with us, which is a book that has the trail information inside there. So there's our hard maps. Next was the compass. So from a compass standpoint, we always have a compass. I have a compass, like a really inexpensive one, Boy Scout level compass that I keep on my Camelback that I always have. Yeah. It's got a whistle built into it. It's got a little flashlight, but it's really small, really lightweight, super simple. Good to have a compass, right? Obviously, your vehicle has a compass too. So if you still have access to your vehicle, if your vehicle's still running, you can use that compass as well. And the last one's the GPS.
Yeah.
So this is where we get into those digital maps. So the MVUM map, it's a static map. It's not dynamic. And what I mean by that is it's not going to change as you drive. Like when you drive with Google Maps or Apple Maps.
Yeah, it's following you the whole time.
Correct. That's not how Avenza Maps works. It's a map. Now it's in a digital form the way that we have it.
Yeah.
And so that GPS then can place us onto that map.
Okay.
So when we're using that MVUM map, we have a blue dot of where we're going. And we use Avenza Map app to house the MVUM maps and integrate the GPS into it.
Okay.
So that's just one corner there. We use Google My Maps, okay?
Okay.
So there's Google Maps, which is just kind of your regular maps is what everybody uses. There's also Google My Maps. Now, Google My Maps gives you kind of a lot more access to the back end of those maps, where you can create waypoints, as many as you want. You can make tracks. You can have Google My Maps create a route for you. You can augment that route. So you can take what we learned from the Butler map and from the Funtrex map and from Google Maps and from Apple Maps.
Set your own route.
And set your own route.
Nice.
And then you can save it, and Google keeps that all for you, and you have a login and everything else. Then we use OnX Off-Road Maps. And we can actually export what we did in Google My Maps to OnX Off-Road Maps.
Yeah.
So we can have it all mirror each other and work. When we're in the rig, we have an iPad set up in the rig. That iPad is always on to OnX Off-Road Maps. We have the off-road maps downloaded, so we don't need internet. And we've got the line of our route already planned, and we've got our dot on there. When I go off to do a trip, if I were to immediately be out, like I pass out and somebody else needs to drive the rig, you just sit in the truck, look at the map, follow the line with the blue dot, and it will get you to where we're going.
You have an exit strategy. Yeah.
Yes.
You're set.
Yeah. So we go a lot overkill. I don't think anybody needs to go that crazy when they're going to plan, especially for yourself. Like, there's a little bit of fun to getting lost, right? There's a little bit of fun to just, okay, let's take this right-hand turn. Now, always remember that path, those breadcrumbs we talked about earlier. Yeah.
Yes.
But you can really get deep into planning your trip and making sure that it's going to be successful as possible. On top of that, there are times where we plan the whole trip from the desk, right? And then we go and there's a gate and the gate's locked and we can't get through it. So now we've got that map downloaded digitally and now we can just figure out a way around where that is to get to the other side and keep moving on with our trip.
There you go. For every circumstance, you have a way.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. All right. Last rapid fire.
Okay.
Morning coffee essential. Yes or no?
Absolutely not.
What?
I haven't had coffee or caffeine on purpose since I was 16 years old.
That's what's wrong with you. I've had like 3 cups of coffee this morning. Or today.
I don't have the greatest sleep schedule.
Okay.
I stay up late. I get up early. I never go to bed early, but I do stay up too late. I often get up too early. There are many times where I get up a little later. Most of the time I'll wake up, like if I don't have anything to do bright and early, I will lay in bed and maybe I'll read the news or something like that till like sometimes 7 o'clock. And that's about as late as I get these days.
That is crazy late for me.
But like, we go play basketball. We're up at 4:45 in the morning to go do that. And when I'm going on trips, man, I am so hyped up on adrenaline.
You're like a kid, you don't sleep?
I usually am equal to or later than everybody to go to bed.
Yeah.
And I'm always the first up. No one ever beats me. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning and like sitting in my tent with like in my sleeping bag, like just waiting for a little glimmer of light so I can get up.
To wake everybody up around here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bear. It's like not in bear country. I got you. I remember
There's a snake in my boots.
There you go. See? Absolutely. Yeah, do you guys play pranks out there?
There are a few little things that have started to percolate.
Okay.
And I think there's going to be more as time goes on. We have some traditions for sure. So the truck tags is one tradition.
Yeah.
So if you want a truck tag, you can buy them on our website for $4.99 and we'll ship them right to your house, but you can only buy the yellow one. You can earn other colors. So if you come on a trip and you go on this trip with us, you can earn different colors.
Like karate.
Yeah, based upon how long the trip is, how difficult the trip is, and right now there's white, black, green, orange, and deep red. So there's 5 colors you can earn right now. We're probably, and I'm hoping maybe this year we'll do 1, maybe 2. We'll do some like holiday version. So like we'll plan a trip that's near, and it's not happening this year for the 4th of July, but let's just say we planned a trip for that weekend of the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a red, white, and blue truck tag. So if you come on that, you're going to get that truck tag.
That'd be sweet.
So we've got like that tradition already. There is there's a tradition that we do that I will never say publicly. On these trips, you have to come on one to know what it is. The only clue I'll give is it's a food.
All right.
Okay, it's a specific food, and we do it on every trip. My rule is that you can't buy it ahead of time. You have to find it along the trip. Okay. And it is not something like, it's not like a mushroom or something like that. We're not talking about that. It's like something legitimate, man-made that you can buy. Okay. You buy it, you fill up for gas, you go in and you buy it. But there is this one thing, and we that's a tradition. And then, there's just, a couple other small ones that we have too. But the pranks are starting to percolate, especially among a couple people that have constantly come back. And I think those need to step up a little. As long as they're safe, as they're not damaging people's rigs, they're not harming anybody, whether it's physically or mentally. These have to be really benign things. But I've got a few in my mind that are going to be played on some people this summer, for sure. And so hopefully that'll start that trend up a little bit more.
Heck yeah, man. Well, dude, that wraps it up for our epic off-road trips and adventure that we just talked about. So.
Yeah. Join the
Rally Club.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's join the Rally Club. Yeah. The Rally Club is free. So you can join it. It's free on Facebook. Yeah. Join the Rally Club. There's awesome articles that are written every single week in there, multiple times a week. I think we post at least 3 times a week, and these articles go into depth about all kinds of different things that might be interesting to you. Sometimes we post a video where somebody's made a mistake, and we talk about that. Somebody posts a video of them flipping their rig or injuring themselves or something like that, and we put it on there, and then I tell the team, like, what could this individual have done better? And it's not to make that person look bad. It's to learn. Let's learn from others' mistakes. And if I make a mistake, I hope there's others out there that will watch a video that we make, look at that mistake and go, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Learn from my mistake. You don't have to put me down, but learn from my mistake. And that's what we're trying to do with some of this. Right? Absolutely. Yeah. So I encourage those out there that do post your mistakes, post them. You have no idea how much good that can create. And for our Rally Club, our Rally Club members, I pull those videos, I post them on our private page, and we have a little talk about what that person did wrong and what they could have done better. And then we've got all the other things, what's the best tire to choose, or what's the best mapping software to use and how to use that mapping software. So you got all that. Also, you get early access to QXA. You get that on Thursday instead of Friday.
And that's a win.
Absolutely. And then there's the paid version of the Rally Club, which you can get through our website. And we've talked about that before as well.
It pays for itself.
Pays for itself right away. Yeah. So if you're going to get work
it's not a great business model.
No. Or if you just want to support Off-RoadX, join the Rally Club. You automatically then get the invite for the Facebook page when you pay to join. And so you just, it's there to, get some of our merchandise out there in the world, but it's also there so that you end up paying less for what you will love anyway.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Well, if you got a dream off-road trip you're planning, share it with us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Obviously, join the Rally Club. Hit us up on all social media sites. Check us out on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, everything. Yep. Give Pete a call, Off-RoadX. Hit him up online, offroadx.com. Yeah. Help you out with your rig, plan a custom build, creative ideas, anything you got. Give us a shout. But that's it for today.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thanks, Pete. Out.